All right, let's get into it. Today we're going on an absolutely incredible journey, tracing the story of football from just one single goal on a muddy field all the way to the global obsession that fills these gigantic stadiums. It's a story that'll show you just how much the beautiful game has really changed.
So our whole story really kicks off with just one person. I want you to picture it. It's 1930. The world is a completely different place. And you know what? So is football. So what would it actually feel like to be the person who scored the first goal in World Cup history without even knowing you were making it?
To get that answer, we've got to meet the man himself. Now, this isn't a story about some global superstar with $1 million contract. Nope. This is about one moment, one shot that unknowingly kicked off the biggest sporting event on the entire planet.
I love this quote. This is from Lucien Laurent, the guy who scored that goal. Think about how he describes it. It's so humble, so matter-of-fact. We congratulated each other. That's it. It just perfectly captures a totally different time in sports, right? It's a whole world away from the massive, emotional celebrations we see today.
So who was this Lucien Laurent? A household name? A celebrity? Not even close. The man was a factory worker for Peugeot. And this little detail is everything. The very first World Cup goal scorer had a regular day job. In fact, he and 3 of his teammates had to ask their bosses for 2 months of unpaid leave just so they could go and compete.
And you know, getting there wasn't a quick flight on a private jet. It was this epic 15-day sea voyage across the Atlantic. The French team, plus players from Belgium and Romania, were all on the same ship, just trying to stay in shape by jogging on the deck. Can you even imagine that today? It just goes to show you the incredible dedication it took just to be there.
Okay, so how do we get from one man's story to this massive global institution? Well, it turns out, on that very same boat with Lucien Laurent was another Frenchman, a guy with a vision, who was busy building the entire stage for all of this to happen.
And that man was Jules Rimet. He was the president of FIFA and the guy who came up with the whole idea for a World Cup. I mean, look at this. When FIFA started in 1904, it was just 7 countries. But under Rimet, it just exploded, from 20 nations to 85. He truly believed football could bring the world together.
Now, this didn't happen overnight, of course. It started small, with competitions at the Olympics. Then came Rimet's big dream, the first World Cup in 1930. Much later, you had leaders like Joan Havelange, who made a real push to bring in more teams from Asia and Africa. And by 1998, the tournament had doubled in size to the 32-team spectacle we all know and love.
So this global structure created a world of professionalism, pushing the sport to a whole new level. And to really see what that looks like today, let's zoom right into what many people call the toughest, most competitive league on earth, the Premier League, and some of the records that are, well, simply legendary. Just look at that. Seriously, 49 games. Arsenal went an entire season and then some without losing a single match. In a league as tough as this, that is almost impossible. It's a record that basically screams invincible. And it's become the benchmark for any team that wants to call itself great. And what about sheer individual brilliance? Well, that brings us to this number, 260. Any guesses? That's the all-time Premier League goal-scoring record, held by the one and only Alan Shearer. It's a ridiculous total that stood for ages. It's like a mountain that every great striker has been trying to climb ever since.
Okay, from one person to the whole team. Back in the 2017-18 season, Manchester City did something that people thought could never be done. They got 100 points in a single season. This right here, this is the definition of dominance. It's about as close to a perfect season as you can possibly get.
And that brings us back to this beautiful number, 0. This is the other side of that 49-game streak we just talked about. The fewest defeats in a Premier League season. It's a record that belongs to only one team in history. Arsenal's Invincibles. Just perfection.
But, you know, records can tell different stories. Check this out. Arsenal was unbeatable, right? But then, the very next season, Chelsea came along and set their own crazy records for the fewest goals let in and the most clean sheets. It just shows you there are 2 very different ways to be dominant. One is to be an unstoppable force, and the other is to be an immovable object.
So, from those legendary records on the field, let's zoom out one last time. Let's look at the massive cathedrals that were built for fans to witness all of this history. Where do all of these millions of passionate fans even go to watch the game?
We'll start in Europe. The biggest soccer stadium on the continent can hold, well, this many people. 99,354. Any idea which one that is?
Yup, it's the legendary Camp Nou in Barcelona, Spain. It's the home of FC Barcelona, and it's not just a stadium, it's a true temple of football, one of the most famous grounds in the entire world.
Okay, now let's hop across the pond. The largest venue for soccer in the United States is even bigger. It can seat over 107,000 fans.
And there it is, Michigan Stadium, also known as the Big House. And what's so cool about this is, while it's world famous for American college football, the fact that it packs in huge crowds for major soccer games just shows you how much the sport is absolutely exploding in the US.
But wait, even that isn't number one. The world's largest stadium holds a truly mind-boggling 114,000 people. Where on earth could this place possibly be?
And I'm willing to bet this answer is going to surprise you. It's the Runggrado 1st of May Stadium in Pyongyang, North Korea. And get this, at one point, it could supposedly hold over 150,000 people. I mean, its sheer size is just proof of how far this sport has traveled, reaching literally every corner of the globe.
So let's just quickly retrace our steps. We went from one goal, scored by a factory worker, to a global game built by visionaries on a 15-day boat trip, to modern records of pure invincibility, and we ended up in stadiums that can hold the population of a decent-sized city. What a journey.
It has just been an extraordinary evolution, hasn't it? Driven by passion, by vision, by this relentless ambition, from a factory worker's simple moment of joy to a global spectacle. And it leaves us with one last big question. After 100 years of this kind of explosive growth, what could possibly be next for the beautiful game?